Hi guys, Leo here. So today we are gonna talk with another junior ambassador from Jacques Rougerie. So we are gonna talk with Thomas Goessler, which is a young architect from Austria. He is a really brilliant and awarded architect. So he has several prizes. So we're gonna talk about his experience in architectural competitions and also about Jacques Rougerie Foundation and competition as well. So stay tuned and let's go to the video. Thomas, thank you again. That's the second time we are recording our conversation because unfortunately the first one, the audio didn't work. But I'm sure that now it's gonna be totally fine. So man, thank you so much. It's gonna be a great conversation. We're gonna talk about architecture competition in general and also about a little bit your story, your career. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so first to I think it's gonna be really awesome if you introduce yourself. So for example, where are you from? How old are you? Where have you graduated?
Yeah, my name is Thomas Goessler. I'm from Austria and I've graduated in Graz. I have a master's degree in architecture as well as a master's degree in industrial design. And currently I'm on the move to London because I will do my PhD at London South Bank University there. And I'm 27 years old.
Yeah, so you are really young, but I know that you have a lot of awards and prizes, special mentions. Can you tell us a little bit about your awards so far? Because I know you have so many of them.
Yeah, I've participated in quite a lot of competitions in the last couple of years. So, for instance, I have a first prize in Marte-Marte competition, which was by Volume 0. I don't know, maybe I go with the portfolio like this.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, that was my first prize. And also, almost with the same project, I won the special mention at Jacques Rougerie. I think we're going to talk about that. Then I also had a first prize with Chocolate Museum, which was by Start for Talent. And yeah, I also got some prizes with Evolve Skyscraper competition. I participated in competitions at Young Architects competition. Recently I won an honorable mention at the Kiribati Floating Houses competition. And yeah, there are quite a lot of mentions. I also got Organizer's Choice at Athenaeum of World Architecture, which was by UNI.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I participated in really a lot of competitions in the last years.
And you got a lot of prizes as well. So I think it's gonna be really important to have your point of view about architecture competitions because you are a really awarded architect. Yeah.
Thanks, I'm trying the best.
Yeah, but you are already. That's really good. And you are also a junior ambassador, right, from the foundation. Jacques, I called Jacques Rougerie, but you called Jacques Rougerie, right? I don't know exactly what is the right to say
I think it's difficult. I try Jacques Rougerie.
Yeah, it's
I don't
French,
know.
right? He's
I had a French girl spelling it for me, and I tried to imitate it.
so that
But
I think that's the good one.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we are both junior ambassadors, and so we are intend to promote the competition in each country, right? So here in Brazil, I'm
Yeah.
promoting, and you in your country. So to you, why it is important to students and young architects to participating in this competition? So and if you give the general information about the competition to everyone that it's watching us.
Yeah, first of all, I think the Foundation Jacques Rougerie is a great community because they're doing a lot of research and in very interesting topics. You can participate in the competition in 3 different categories. One is architecture for sea, the other one is architecture for space, and then there's also architecture related to sea level rise. And in each category there's also a subcategory. So first of all, it's a great competition because you can really study something very different. Usually competitions are not about projects on Mars or in the ocean or underwater. So the foundation does research in a very interesting topic that can be very good for the future. And the most important thing is that the foundation is a really great network for a lot of young people to show their work, and also like us, maybe to become a junior ambassador and meet new people.
Yeah, awesome. And I think it's important to say that it's totally free, right? We didn't mention
Yeah.
that before. It's totally free, so you can get a huge like prizes as well. But I'm sure that like the best thing about this competition is that you mentioned. So the networking and the like the opportunity to really think outside the box, thinking in architecture like as a tool to maybe imagine the future or try to solve problems that we already have in our planet, for example. So you have participated in 2018 in this competition, right? And you got
Yeah.
a special mention.
Yeah, which is like the second prize.
Yeah, awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about this project, this design?
Yeah, I participated in the category for space. And of course, like in every competition, I first started with a lot of research, what conventional projects on Mars would look
Yeah.
like at the moment. So I did a lot of Pinterest research. And I think it's important to mention that for Jacques Rougerie, that it's important that you also have some research in the background. It's not only about perfect design. So I would divide my project in 2 separate areas. One was doing really this research, finding out what you can build on Mars, what materials you can use. So I concentrated on, for instance, how to get steel or raw bricks of the earth. And then I also tried to create food and water and energy cycles to see if you can really make a building work on there without any additional energy, food or water. So it really has to be a self-sustainable system. And on the other hand, then after I did this research, I also thought about design. My project is inspired a lot by fantasy design and also product design. That's why it looks quite different from other projects who very often have kind of dome-like shapes, or I don't know. I tried to go a very different way. That's why I did a very high skyscraper-like structure, which acts as a solar panel or solar sails to produce energy. There's a lot of space for greenhouses and plants. And in my opinion, the good thing is that it had an uncommon design, and on the other hand, it was still kind of plausible in the given circumstances. I mean, of course, Mars
Yeah,
is
of course.
not real at the moment, but if you set some goals, then it might be plausible.
Yeah, for sure. In the future, maybe. I think
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity to do all this kind of research that you did, right? And you brought something totally new because, as you said before, everyone makes like a design proposal with this specific like geometric form to Mars. Because maybe it's kind of like easier to do that, right? Because you have this kind of technical and engineering design, but
Mm.
the good thing is that you like thought outside the box and brought this new kind of typology to architecture on Mars, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think lots of people are also influenced by what they first see on Pinterest. So, of course, if you scroll through the first 10 pages and only see domes with some kind of membrane on it, and they're
Yeah.
all quite similar, then you might also think that's maybe the best solution. And it can be for sure, but for a competition, it's better to make something that's a little bit more
Explore
standing out of
other
the crowd.
designs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And maybe I think you can use the same project to Evolo, which is another skyscraper competition, right?
You can try, yeah. Actually, you would have to do it the other way around because Evolo only accepts new projects. But
Oh, I didn't know that.
the good thing about Foundation is you can hand it in projects that you already did for a different competition.
Yeah, and that's a really good point because, for example, maybe someone has like a thesis design,
Mm.
some project that this student have been working on for several like years maybe,
Yeah,
and that would be a really opportunity to make it this design proposal something bigger, right? Maybe get a mention or a prize. That would be really awesome. So good point.
yeah, because research is also important. So if you have a thesis, it's very good.
I
At
would
least a
say,
starting
yeah,
point.
I would say that it's 50-50, right? Because the
Yeah.
research point it's so much important as the design. That's really good to mention. All right, so and do you have any specific methodology to elaborate your design proposals or to participate in a competition?
Yeah, I mean, first I do it like most of the people and do I don't know, Google and Instagram and Pinterest search and figure out what other people did before because I don't think you really have to start at zero. When you're doing a
Yeah.
competition, you can look at different projects. And then I also do research, especially considering the brief, because in my opinion, many times people are not focused enough on the brief. We have to consider as designers that somebody is really sitting there and trying to help us when writing these briefs. And then it's just the starting point. So we have to think, what can you add?
It's
For
like a
instance, what
client, right?
like a client, yeah, he doesn't know everything he wants. Maybe he is just thinking, oh yeah, I need 200 square meters of exhibition space, but he forgets that he also needs something completely different that might be better. Usually, I think it's a good idea to just see the concept as a whole, and also sometimes it's good to think about narrators. So try to make up a story in your mind, what people might do all the day, what functions they might use. So kind of storytelling is also a good idea to start such a competition.
Yeah, right. But I'm like pretty sure that you also have this kind of not linear process as well, because
Yeah,
we're talking about architecture, so you kind of have your schedule, everything planned, but actually in the process, maybe sometimes you come back to the original idea, or then I don't know, you having another idea. Is that happen to you?
yeah, both things can happen. I mean, it's natural that projects evolve during design phases. So in general, it's a good thing, but sometimes it's just the case that you get stuck in the middle of some competition. Then you have to decide what you're gonna do with it. You can restart it, you can just give it up. I mean, in my past, I've done both things. Sometimes I was just kind of saying, yeah, it's not going to get good, and submitted it just in the middle of the night, 2 months before submission, because I said, yeah, it's not the right competition for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's good that you sometimes just go one step back and focus on a really strong idea. Because in competitions, everybody has to immediately understand what was the main goal and main idea of your project. So you should not lose this important idea during the design process. And it's more important for me to focus that other people can also understand the most important design goals and ideas.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So, when did you start participating in architecture competitions? Was it in school or like just before, just after you graduated?
I started after I graduated, but if it's possible for people, I would recommend them to start as early as possible because, especially at university, you have a lot of colleagues and a system where you could really do competitions besides studying. So, I mean, I think it's good that I started after university as well because some people just never start, and I had to find a way to be creative. So I started while I was working in an office.
And also, I think it's a kind of a continuation maybe of your education, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes you learn a lot in the process when you're like making a design proposal for a competition. So it's really important to have this in mind, to keep that in mind, to make it like as a part of
mm.
your formation as well. Um,
Also it's quite this far away from what you do as a professional because in a professional office you think a lot about construction costs, timelines, clients, and so maybe in some cases you lose a little bit of creativity when you in such a strict environment. That's why I think it's also in that situation good to start competitions.
yeah, Elon Musk won't ask you to build something on Mars, for example, right? He's not gonna be
Yeah,
your client, so that's why we have international competitions to like have these opportunities.
yeah, that's right.
So let me see. So, what are the criterias to you decided to participate in an architecture competition? Is it the deadline? Is it the prize? I don't know, the topic, the theme.
Yeah, the most important thing for me personally is the topic because I need to be interested in the topic, and also I think about possible ideas and solutions very quickly. So before I decide that I really participate, I usually have one or two ideas in my head. And then, of course, I have to check the timeline if I can meet the deadline and what is required. Usually, the amount of price is not the most important consideration thing.
I see, but do you prefer to do like alone, yourself, or in a group? Is it your part of your criteria too?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time I do it alone, not in a group, but I also did some competitions in groups. I think the most important thing you have to consider is can you first work with all those people? Is it possible to use the same software? Can you meet the time schedule? That's considerations. For me, besides working, it was often very difficult to work in a team because I usually worked after, I don't know, my usual 8, 9, 10 hours of office work. And then it's hard to do kind of meetings when it's more like an evening, yeah, thing to do.
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
know for me.
Do you prefer
It's
do you prefer, for example, ideas competition, or something that it's gonna like build something and you're gonna have like contracts to make it a reality, for example?
Yeah, personally, I would like to do both, but I mean, as you might know, there are a lot of ideas competitions out there, and there are not so many real competitions that are going to be built, and those are much more competitive because big companies might participate, and the amount of work that you have to submit is just too big for one person. That's why most of the time I do ideas competitions. But there are also some like from bee breeders where they also build those projects where everybody can participate. In Austria, you cannot participate in those public uh, competitions without being officially an architect.
I see.
So at the moment, I'm not allowed to. That's why it's not really an option for me.
Oh, so you're not allowed it yet? So you have to make a trainee, maybe? You have to have some experience to get this license?
Yeah, there is a quite big license exam. And first, you have to have 3 years of experience, and you have to prove that you have been working in every stage of design. So from competition to detail design and being on the building site. And yeah, I at the moment I just have those 3 years. So sooner would be possible for me to become an architect here, but not right at the moment. Yeah, it's still fine.
Yeah, that's really interesting to see like the different views of education. That's right. So another question: for from all competitions that you have participated, which one did you like the most?
I like the mask competition the most. I mean, I submitted it to Jacques Rougerie and to Volume Zero because I think it was a very good design. And even after 3 years, I still do like the concept and the idea. Of course, I think we are always evolving as architects and improving. So usually I always like what I'm doing right now and think, yeah, it's so great. And then after a year, I say it's not so good anymore, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, nice. And what about your references? Do you have any architects that you love the work, or I don't know, the style maybe?
Yeah, I think I do like a lot of Japanese architects. For instance, Tadao Ando, because I think this very, yeah, silent concrete architecture is very great. I also like Sana because in general, Japanese architecture has, for me, a very special characteristics because it's very modern on the one hand, but also just feelings for materials is great. And Shigeru Ban, for instance, he also does great stuff. Now that I'm moving to London, of course, you have big names like Foster. There is a lot of architects who do very great buildings at the moment, and I think you should consider all of them. I don't know, maybe you haven't heard so much about Austrian architects, but there are also some good companies. For instance, there's Coop Himmelb or uh, Delugan Meissl, which did Porsche Museum.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'll put all the architects here in the description so people can search about it. I think
yeah,
it's
it's
nice.
a good idea.
Do you know the which is like those guys that designed the vessel? I think Thomas Hederick maybe.
Mm,
Have you
yeah,
heard? I
yeah,
really
but
like his work, man. I think he's an England office.
yeah, Hedderwick Studio is cool. I
Yeah.
also heard that talk by him recently. It was very good. Which vessel do you
The
mean?
vessel, the vessel project in New York City, like the sculpture. I think it's
Ah,
he.
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
from his office, right? I think so.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so do you have any tips for students and young architects to like maybe get a prize, get a mention in architecture competition, or like in a, I don't know, to design a project in general maybe? Do you have any tips?
Yeah. First of all, as we already mentioned, you should really consider what the company or the one who is doing the competition wants from you. So what he puts in the brief, and really think about it first. And then you should focus on maybe the strongest idea. If you have a lot of small ideas, you should really try to make the best out of the strongest idea and focus on, yeah, on making this idea stand out of all the other projects. The jury, they don't have a lot of time, they have to understand it immediately. So you should add a lot of graphics explaining why you came to this shape. And also, as we already mentioned, it's important that you have kind of good graphics or good renderings or some form of representation to catch attention at first.
Yeah, great. And what about those techniques, renderings, and skills? Do you have any tips, websites, or something that could help us, like could help students and young architects to improve their skills on renderings, for example, or softwares?
Yeah, usually I used YouTube to improve for tutorials.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because yeah, it's not so easy to find stuff out there, and at least at YouTube you have a lot of footage. I mean, of course, the organization is not so great, so you already have to know what you're searching for. I mean, I think you have a good solution with your homepage for that.
Yeah.
If, I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
mention it, but
I can leave some like websites on the description as well, so to help like you to find good tutorials maybe.
yeah. But in general, you can also use LinkedIn Learning or Coursera or other official websites because courses there are not really expensive. I mean, for instance, for a rendering course with 20 hours, you usually pay like 10, I don't know, dollars, euros.
Yeah. So have you learned
Yeah.
from yourself all the skills that you have today, or have you done some courses, online courses, for example?
I only did online tutorials, so basically learned everything by myself. But I think if you're really focused, you can also do it by yourself. You just have to stick to your goals and try to improve, because the main difference is that if you're doing a course with a teacher, the teacher will tell you, yeah, that's the problem, you have to get better. But also other people could tell you, yeah, your rendering is not there yet. Or what I also can recommend to people is not stick to the first rendering program that they learned about, because often students learn something at university which is maybe not the best program or even not the best technique. So not everybody can do photorealistic renderings out of every scene. If it's not possible for you to do that, just stick to some illustrations, collage style. There's a lot of techniques that you can learn and make your just use what works best for you.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's the point. If you can represent your idea in the best way, doesn't matter the technique or doesn't matter the type, right? Because I think today everyone wants to do that perfect rendering, so realistic, but at the same time, maybe you can have like illustration that like explore your idea and tells your concepts in a so much good way, right? That was
Also,
a really good point.
also in my opinion, from photorealistic rendering, we already expect a very high standard. So if you're trying to do a photorealistic rendering and you kind of fail to do it and you don't do it the right way, it might be much worse than just line graphics where the idea is clear,
Yeah.
because we can get distracted by mistakes in renderings very fast. I mean, I know myself, if I see something like a car that's wrong or humans that are twice as big as they should be, then the focus goes on the mistake rather than on the project. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
better focus on what you can do.
Sure. Which programs do you usually use? So is it Photoshop, Revit, I don't know, SketchUp, Rhino?
Yeah, for modeling, I usually use Revit because I have the most experience in it and it works quite fine for me. For organic shapes, I usually put the project into 3ds Max, and depends on how much time I have. If I have a lot of time, I do 3ds Max with V-Ray rendering that achieves kind of realistic effect. Or I also like to use KeyShot. It's not so popular but with architects because it's designed for industrial design.
Yeah, product design. Yeah.
Yeah, product design, yeah, cars, stuff like that, because actually it works better if you're doing an outside rendering. They're trying to improve interior rendering, but the thing I like about it is that it's really real time and you get immediate feedback, you see how it looks like. So if it has to go fast, that's maybe the better way. On the other hand, there are also a lot of plugins for instance, Revit. There is Enscape, where you can
Oh,
just
yeah.
walk through the building. It's great tools that are emerging.
So is it like part of your methodology, maybe, right? To like to see the architecture space, like in meantime you are developing it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
first,
really interesting.
I also have a little bit of background with photography and filming. I mean, before I studied architecture, I wanted to become a director of movies.
Oh,
So
really? Nice.
I always have kind of a photographic perspective in my mind when I start doing the project. And sometimes I'm kind of disappointing if the rendering doesn't work, because it's a very important part for me that project looks nice from different angles. If you want, yeah, want to see it like this.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I think that's really unique as well. That was nice to mention. So, to you, why is it important to participate in architecture competitions? For example, what are like the main thing a student should focus on architecture, like besides the prize and everything like that? So, why it is important to participate in architecture competitions?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to really exercise your skills and also your creativity, because you can really gain a lot of experience in doing those competitions. And that year's competitions are also a preparation for real competitions where you can really make money in the end. So it's a kind of a necessary starting point. And it's always better to practice something during a competition than just sitting there and watching tutorials, because you have to practice the programs and the workflow and everything anyway. And in this way, you not only learn to design, but also to use all the tools that you like. And on the other hand, of course, it's important to have a good portfolio, as everybody knows, because it's without portfolio it's kind of hard to find jobs nowadays.
In your opinion, the architecture competitions like proposals in portfolios are like important to maybe office in Europe, for example, if you like send your portfolio with just college projects instead of having a lot of architecture competitions in your portfolio, is there a kind of difference there?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, first of all, you have a quality difference, because if you have a portfolio that's made out of projects starting from, I don't know, from your bachelor's degree, I mean, sure, there are people who have really great projects, but usually they don't represent the standard you are right at the moment. So I don't have a single project from university in my portfolio anymore.
Oh, nice.
I think you don't need a perfect portfolio for every job, because there are other positions where you just need technical skills, where computer skills are more important. But if you want to show a big company that you can do competitions and that you want to be in the design team, then I guess it's a good idea to have also a good design portfolio, because why would they hire you for a competition position if you never did one on your own?
Yeah, exactly. Man, I think that was it. Incredible. That I think it's a really rich conversation. We explored a lot of details. I really like it. I hope you like it too. And I'm sure that everyone that is watching this video right now wants to follow you on Instagram. So I'll leave all your Instagrams, and I don't know, do you have any website for like, I know that you have Behance, right?
I have Behance, I have LinkedIn, for instance, if you want to follow me, or Instagram is maybe the best because there is always new content.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll leave all the contacts here in the description so everyone can contact you. And man, thank you so much. That was really awesome to talk to you again. And I don't know if you wanna like say something about maybe the competition at the foundation, and also about your work, about your future, the things you're gonna do next, to people follow you on Instagram to see that coming maybe.
Yeah, then I will say a final note. I think it's important that people don't give up and continue designing, because it's very important if you want to be an architect. It's not just about money, but also about the passion for being an architect and designing. And of course, yeah, it's good to have followers, so check out all my stuff, and of course your stuff too.
So that's it, guys. I hope you like it. Make sure to subscribe, because we're gonna have more content in English as well. So that's it. See you guys on the next video.